UFC 264 this Saturday, July 10th, from Nevada at T-Mobile Arena is going to be big. You got Poirier, Dustin Poirier, the man, the diamond in the rough, going up against Conor, Mr. Notorious McGregor. And here at Do I Want to Know, we want to enlighten our non-fighting fans or people that are just interested in such a big event as to what's to come. And we brought on a great person here today, and his name is Gabe. Again, last name Bench.
Gabe Bench. Gabe Bench. Just Gabe Bench.
Bench.
Yeah,
that's a good. I gotta say that's a good name, buddy. You're ready for the big show with that, eh? Of
course, exactly.
Obviously, there's some good undercard, but on the preliminaries, but we'll stick to the main card for here. We got Sugar Sean O'Malley, 13-1 record versus, I think this guy must be Rocky Balboa in the flesh, Chris Moutinho.
Yeah,
the Portuguese maestro.
I know.
Gabe, let me know, what can I expect from this fight, and what do you think is going to go down?
So Chris Moutinho is a guy who he's making his UFC debut. So originally it was Louis Smolka was supposed to fight Sean O'Malley, and he had to pull out due to an injury. So they kind of had to figure it out. Like he's on 10 days notice. So someone coming in on 10 days notice fighting, it's pretty difficult because you got to get the call, you got to get your team organized, you got to cut the weight too. So for him to come in and accept this fight, it was pretty awesome for that he was able to help Sean stay on this card. And he's making his UFC debut. He's got nothing to lose and everything to gain, because if he beats Sean O'Malley, that's pretty big for your career.
Exactly. And for people that don't know, Sean O'Malley, he's pretty much, for people that are trying to get into the sport, Conor, but like light version. He's
Conor
that
light,
guy.
yeah, exactly.
He's 135 bantamweight fighter. And people have been saying in the lead up to this fight that he's sort of dodging the top opponents and he doesn't really want to fight those top guys. Do you have anything to say about that, Gabe?
So I think there's a lot of truth and there's a lot of untruth to that. So the fight, yeah, when he accepted the fight versus Louis Smolka, I think a lot of people were saying that, oh, he's trying to dodge the top competition, but I think he really just wanted to be on the Conor card, and there wasn't really anyone. I'm sure there wasn't any really one available who was able to fight on that day. So maybe that was why. But I think with this, if he beats Chris Moutinho, he's probably gonna call out Cody Garbrandt because him and Cody, they love to talk on Twitter, man. They love it. Sean is also talking to the former bantamweight champion Peter Yan. Sean just wants all the smoke with all the bantamweights, but I think he wants to fight them all. I genuinely believe he wants to like fight those guys.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna be interesting. Got a little Rocky 4 action, and you're gonna love that fight. But moving on to the next fight on the card, we got a women's battle here, and we got, I don't know too much about them. I watched the fight of a couple, but I know I have Irene Aldana versus Yana Kunitskaya. And from my knowledge, Irene Aldana is sort of that, she's a Mexican fighter, and she's fought those top competitors. She's fought Chukagan, she's fought Cyborg, but she's never come up on the top of them.
Exactly, yeah. She's kind of, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You think that will change this weekend?
Maybe, because both of those girls are looking to try to jump into that top 5 considered in the bantamweight division, but they haven't really shown that they could do it. So I think this is going to be it's probably going to be a close fight on paper. If Kunitskaya can use her taekwondo skills and to keep the distance with her kicks, I think that could be really good. Holly Holm had a lot of success using her kickboxing, so for Kunitskaya to come in there and use her distance and her range, that would be great. If Irina Aldana can mix it up a bit and get Kunitskaya on the ground, because Ketlin Vieira, when she fought Kunitskaya a while ago, she had a lot of success on the ground with her. So definitely look for a lot of mixing up of the strategies. So like going back to their fight bases for them to win those fights.
And do you see any knockouts here in this fight, or
in this one? Maybe, but it's I think it's one of those fights that goes to a decision.
Okay.
One of those fights.
Right. So decision, and like I love the different styles there, and you gotta love competitors. And even though you don't know much, maybe some people don't know a lot about the women's division outside of that, it's good to watch the styles, as you brought up, taekwondo, different thing, keeping the distance, things that when you're watching the UFC or beginning, that's when you start to learn and take in what's Muay Thai. What are they using? Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? Is he a wrestling background? Is he like to grapple, fight standing up? All great things to know. But moving on from that, we're on to the next big fight on the card. And when I looked at this fight, I thought it was a joke. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was a joke.
Yeah.
Because I didn't even know this guy was in the UFC anymore.
Yeah, I know.
And we got
Yeah.
Tai Tuivasa. He's a pretty good heavyweight. But we're going to go up against Greg Hardy, the former Dallas Cowboy.
I know,
Let's
right?
go Cowboys. I'm a Cowboys fan. I'm voting for him.
I know.
Does he have a chance here?
Does he have a chance? I mean, listen, if you're looking to pick a fight that's going to last under a minute, this is the fight. Like, these guys, I think Tai Tuivasa's last fight lasted under a minute. Whenever Greg Hardy fought, I think when he fought on the Contender Series to get into the UFC, one of his fights lasted like under like 15 seconds or something like that. It was insane how, like, these guys are fast starters and they're going to just throw hands immediately. So this probably is the fight on the main card that has the highest like explosiveness factor. So definitely going to be seeing a knockout from one of these two guys.
Oh, you gotta love those big knockout potentials. And Dana White, he loves when he makes the card. He knows he's doing it on purpose. Don't think he doesn't do it on purpose.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, and I gotta love that. Greg Hardy, hopefully he can maybe get a sneak blow, but I gotta admit I don't like his chances. And I think this fight, even though Tai, maybe this is gonna be a good stepping stone for people to know who he is. I think he's still a ways away from the top. So we'll leave that fight at that. But these are the two fights that I wanted to talk about the most, because these are the two fights that interest me the most, and they're two amazing fights.
Great.
The co-main event at UFC 264 is going to be Gilbert Burns, the Brazilian, like, he's just a powerhouse, versus Sean Wonderboy Thompson. Wow. Karate versus just pure power. Yeah. It's just like, it's all coming together at once. Gabe, what do you see happening here?
So Stephen Thompson, he's like a wizard with his kicks. He's with distant management, because the way Wonderboy fights is he moves a lot and he fights in the karate stance, which is very sideways, and you have to be able to move all the time. Your feet are constantly bouncing. You're everywhere in the cage. So the way I see this fight playing out is if Stephen Wonderboy Thompson can keep Gilbert Burns at range with his kicks, always moving, and he can defend Gilbert Burns' takedowns, I think he could win this fight. He could definitely win this fight. He's done this before with one of Gilbert Burns' training partners in Vicente Luque. Mm-hmm. So definitely for him, because Vicente Luque and Gilbert Burns, they're very similar fighters, two brawlers with crazy good jiu-jitsu. They're pretty much carbon copies of each other. But in this matchup, I think really for Gilbert Burns, this is a great matchup to show that his jiu-jitsu and how amazing it is, because if he's able to take him down, which is hard for people to take down Wonderboy, he has a very high takedown defense. If he's able to take him down, definitely he could do damage on the ground to him or set up submissions from anywhere.
Okay. And Stephen Thompson, he's a bit on the older side.
Yeah.
Starting to reach probably the twilight of his career. And this could be maybe his last shot to maybe get into that title contention. Do you see that maybe this will cement his place, as Burns just fought Usman? Do you think maybe Usman is in the picture if Thompson can win this fight?
Oh, 100%. If Thompson can get a clear win either by decision or by finish, then definitely, because Usman has already beaten all the guys in the top 5. He's beaten Edwards. He's beaten Masvidal twice. He's beaten Covington. He's beaten Burns. And there really isn't anyone left who he hasn't fought besides Chiesa and Wonderboy that's in the top 10. That's really, and Luque, that's pretty much a big threat to him. So with this win over Gilbert Burns, I think you could consider Wonderboy the next title challenger. However, Dana White has said that Colby Covington is next, but that does, it changes all the time with the title challengers and who's next and who isn't.
Well, Covington or Thompson, whatever, or even Burns. If Burns can get a dub, it's going to be a great fight in the next for that championship, and I'm excited to see that. But the co-main event is there. The main event is what everybody's talking about. And if you don't have a thought on this fight, let me tell you, you're going to have a thought after we talk. We got Dustin the Diamond Poirier versus Conor the Notorious One McGregor. Now, a little bit of context for anybody that doesn't know. These guys are fighting a trilogy fight. This is their third fight. The first fight went Connor's way. That was at peak Connor. He was coming in and he was dusting mans. He was making sure that you remembered his name. And he beat Poirier within the first 2 rounds. Second round, or was it first or second round knockout?
First round.
It was first round knockout. Second fight goes around, maybe like 7-8 years later. This was just last year. Poirier comes out, takes some shots from McGregor, but he ends up knocking him out in the second round. So now this is going to be big. We got the third fight here. We got Connor. His legacy's on the line. Everything's riding on this match. If he doesn't fight his fight and win this, it could be the WWE. Dustin could be putting himself right, like if he wins this, he's definitely guaranteed going to get a title shot. Gabe, based off everything that I've said, who's going to win this fight? What rounds it going to be? And how do you see this fight playing out?
So basically, it kind of could go either way, because I actually saw in the UFC does a series where it's like kind of like a vlog series for like the week of the fight, where the fighters are landing in Vegas or landing in where the fight is, and Dustin was telling Jorge Masvidal, he's like, oh, I didn't even know I was gonna do leg kicks in the middle of the fight to win the rematch. He's like, I just did it and it started working for me, so I just kept doing it. So a lot of the strategy that what they're going to implement is going to be on the fly. It depends what the other person does. So if Dustin is looking towards more going for takedowns, then definitely Connor might look to keep him at distance with more kicks and whatnot. So it really could go either way. But the way I see this is a good metric of who could win a fight is how many ways they have to win a fight. So I see Connor only winning this fight like via strikes or via some sort of like clinch strikes. Dustin can win this fight on the ground. I feel like Dustin has the ability to, if he could take him down, get the top position, or set up a submission somewhere. But you never know with Connor. And Connor rebounds really well from losses, very well. As we've seen after he lost to Nate Diaz, he came back and he defeated Eddie Alvarez in the most beautiful performance we have ever seen anyone do ever. And then when he lost to Khabib, he came back and he beat Cowboy Cerrone very cleanly. So I think Connor has a little bit chip on his shoulder to try to reclaim what he lost the last time. So yeah, I think it could go either way, but I'm going with Dustin Poirier, man. I think Dustin Poirier is gonna.
What round are you giving me? What round are you giving me right here? This is gonna be very big right here because it's gonna tell me how you sort of see the fight playing out.
It's such a hard fight. It's such a hard fight to call because I feel like Dustin and Connor are going to be striking primarily through a lot of the fights, but Dustin Poirier probably by third round TKO via ground strikes.
Third round TKO via ground strikes for Poirier. I don't know. I may have some disagree. I still think Connor has a bit of gas left in the tank.
I do too.
And also, like, just looking towards the future. Sorry to cut you off there, but looking towards the future, you see in the shadows, somewhere deep in the wilderness, you have Charles Oliveira, and he's waiting.
He's watching. He's waiting. Yeah, he's waiting.
He's waiting in the distance. And it's not that far away. And if Connor wins this fight, I can guarantee you everybody's going to be calling for the Oliveira fight.
Oh, it's gonna happen. Dana White has said that the winner of this fight gets the title shot. So this is the title eliminator for.
It's a number one contender match.
It's the number one contender fight, and Oliveira is gonna have. In terms of Oliveira, I think he'd rather fight Connor. If I'm Oliveira,
100%.
I want Connor because if I'm Oliveira, I could I know my jiu-jitsu is better than Connor, and I know that it's going to be very difficult for me to defend against Dustin, who's a lot stronger than me and who's a lot bigger than me. So he's going to be throwing way stronger punches.
And Chandler had a great fight in the first round. He almost
beat him. Yeah, he almost beat him. He almost beat him. So I feel like Oliveira would struggle against someone like really burly and big like Dustin Poirier. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see what happens between what happens in a few days. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how that plays out because the winner gets Oliveira.
Well, look at that. Well, winner gets Oliveira, number 1 contender match. And that's UFC 264 main card. What you want to know, you want to know all about this. Want to thank Gabe Bench MMA. Just tell the audience where they can find you.
So you can find me on TikTok and Gabe Bench, YouTube and Gabe Bench, and Instagram and Twitter, Gabe Bench, all Gabe Bench.
Look at that. He's consistent throughout the whole thing.
Go,
And that's what
exactly.
I'd like to see. And for everybody that's watching UFC 264 this weekend, make sure you get a couple beers with the boys. COVID's starting to come to an end. Let's enjoy this fight weekend and
Yes, sir.
let's get ready to rumble. See you then.